Hey everyone, it's the Life Doctor again, and I wanted to come through and make a really quick video and talk about something that I don't really hear very many people talking about. And I think that at least one of the reasons why that is the case is because people, at least some people, don't believe that it exists, and that is food addiction. Um, you know, how we eat, what we eat, when we eat, our weight, the size we are, all of those things tend to be very sensitive subjects for a lot of people. It has been a sensitive subject for me in the past, particularly when I was heavier than I am now. And so, it's just something that people don't want to talk about or feel embarrassed or ashamed to talk about. But food addiction is real. And, I know for some people, being able to identify or label something that they are experiencing is normalizing, or it's helpful for them. Not that I'm labeling a person, but I'm labeling a behavior, because sometimes when we can put a label or a name to something, we can, that may be the first step in getting help for it, because, okay, now we know what it's called. Okay, let's move on from there. So, food addiction is real. And, let me pause and say this. I am not a physician, nor am I a health expert. I am simply a health and fitness enthusiast. I do my own research, and I am a clinical psychologist, so I do have a certain level of education and a particular skill set that I think can lend to what I'm about to share, but I am not a physician or a nutritionist or anything like that. Just want to put that out there. But I have dealt with addictions in my line of work in the past, and so like I said, I do have a knowledge base for addictions in general, particularly drug and alcohol addiction, as well as pornography addiction, which I do believe is an addiction, if that is something that somebody is struggling with. I don't think that it is just a bad habit or anything like that, but that's kind of a side point. Let's get back to the food addiction situation. So I was mentioning those other addictions, and like those other addictions, and as real as those other addictions are, so is the case for food addiction. As a matter of fact, there are some processed foods, high sugar, high sodium, etc., high fat. So there are some processed foods that can be just as addicting for people as heroin or cocaine. Now, you may think that this is hogwash, that this is crazy what I'm saying, but let me tell you something. In the same way that our chemical pathways in the brain are altered when we take drugs, when we consume those things, that is what is happening or can happen when we eat certain foods, and that is why the addiction takes place. Certain chemicals in the brain, for example dopamine, which deal with pleasurable feelings, which deal with helping to alleviate or reduce pain, helps us to feel good, literally physically feel good. Those chemicals are impacted when we eat, if you take drugs, as well as eating certain foods. And so what happens is people feel good, they feel a certain kind of way when they eat foods. And what do we do when we experience pleasure? Well, we want to do that thing again. And so there's an addiction that is forming, and literally we are engaging in behaviors because our brain is telling us to, because those pathways in the brain is now being rewired to crave, to want those things. And for some people, as it is in the case for people who are addicted to drugs and alcohol, pornography, shopping, and other addictions, gambling and so forth, it's like at a certain point with food, you're not just eating because you like to eat. You're not just eating because you're hungry. You're not just eating because, it's a normal thing to do, to eat, because it is normal to eat. At this point, if you're addicted, you're eating because you want to feel normal. Like it's like this thing that you can't stop. You're feeding this beast that you don't really have control over. And if you've ever met somebody who is significantly entrenched with drug addiction, at that point, when they're at that stage, they're not taking drugs to get high. They're taking drugs to feel normal. And so that's what I'm saying. It can be that serious. Now, of course, with any addiction, it's not just, black or white, cut and dry, all or none. there is a gradation. So you can have 100 different people who are dealing with a drug addiction or food addiction or any kind of addiction, and they may all be at different levels or different stages of their addiction. So everybody that's addicted to food or has issues with food is not in the same place. And just because you have issues with food doesn't mean you're necessarily addicted to food. But my point in making this video is just to provide some education and to just put it out there that food addiction is real, and we need to start talking about these things with our children who are obese. Listen, when I was a child, there was no such thing as a TV commercial prompting me to get up and move, to get up and go outside and play. Like, what? There was no commercial telling me to put down the video game and go out and jump rope. Like, jumping rope, playing, running around, going to the park, that was just what we did. No adult, no political movement, nobody in the White House had to tell me to go outside and exercise. That's just, we were children, we played. That's what children did. Now you have political influence, trying to motivate kids to play. You have billboards talking about get up and move. You have commercials. Why? Because our children are obese. Our children are not eating properly. They're sitting home and playing video games. Now, of course, it's not everybody, but whenever you have a movement, a political movement, you have the media encouraging children to get out and play, something is wrong. Something is wrong. Food addiction is real. And it doesn't just start one day, all of a sudden. No, these are things that, are being taught to our children who turn into obese adults. I mean, that is a reality. Now, yes, some people have thyroid issues and other illnesses. Some people may be on medications that will predispose them to gaining weight or holding on to the weight that they do have, or make it more difficult to lose weight. I understand that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who have a bona fide addiction to food. And let me tell you, I have had my own issues with food, and I still have issues with food. I struggle, and just because I'm the size that I am now, and just because I have lost a significant amount of weight, doesn't mean that I don't still struggle. And so the things that I share with you, I'm telling myself as well, because, if I don't stay committed and focused to my own healthy lifestyles journey, I can slip back into a place that I don't want to go. Listen, diabetes, high blood pressure, all those things run in my family, and I don't want any part of it. Not one part of it do I want. And so that's why I have made the decision to do things like healthy food challenges. I made the decision to lose the weight. I do races. I do different things that's going to help keep me focused and in shape and fit and healthy, and not succumb to what seems to be killing America. And so, if you are struggling with a food addiction, if you are in an abusive relationship with food, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. If you are in an abusive relationship with food, then there's help for you. There are meetings that you can go to, just like there are meetings for people with sex addictions, pornography addictions, drug and alcohol addictions. There are meetings that you can go to. If you don't want to do that, then certainly, pick up a self-help book and do your own research as to what might be going on with you neurochemically in your brain, your body chemistry. Talk to a therapist, a counselor. A lot of times we are emotional eaters, and some people slip into a rocky relationship with food because of mismanagement of emotions. So, talk with somebody about that. And then other things that you can do that are practical that a lot of us don't want to do, but we have to make decisions that we're going to change. We have to change our mind, and then that will help us change our life. So things like, removing the junk food from your house. If it's out of sight, then it will help it to be out of mind. Remove the junk foods from your home, or replace them. In drug and alcohol counseling, when I have spoken with clients and shared with them, listen, you need to change your playmates and your playground. What that means is you can't hang out with the same people that you used to use with. You can't go to the same places that you used to use in, because they are triggers for you. So you have to, and you're not just going to get rid of those things, but you're going to replace them. And so for food, you're not just going to get rid of the ice cream. You're not going to just get rid of the chips. You're going to replace them with something that is a healthier alternative. So do that. That's something that you can do. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Give yourself real food. You know, a lot of times people kind of fall into overeating and just, you know, doing the most where food is concerned because we're bored, we don't have anything else to do. Keep yourself satisfied and full with good whole foods, and keep yourself busy on task doing something. When you're running around doing stuff, you don't have time, as much time to focus on, ooh, let me have some chips. You know, exercise, hydrate your body. A lot of times we eat because we're thirsty, we're dehydrated. So again, these are just some simple things that you can do, but I know that it's hard to implement these things if you are entrenched in a food addiction. So please do yourself a favor, do your children a favor if you have children, whether or not they are obese, if you are obese, or if you are addicted to food. See, and let me just say this, you don't have to be obese or overweight to be addicted to food or have a bad relationship with food. You can be skinny and unhealthy. You can be skinny and eating inappropriate things and killing yourself and skinny. So let's just get that out the way and make that clear. But certainly if you have some deep-seated issues, if you have a really bad relationship with food, then please talk with somebody. Talk with me. Hit me up on Facebook. I would be happy to share with you what I know and share with you the things that I have done in my journey to get me to an over 75-pound weight loss. Happy to share with you. But I hope that this wasn't too preachy. I just wanted to kind of get that off of my chest and share this information with you as we together, you know, make changes to live a healthier lifestyle. So this is the Life Doctor, and I will see you on the other side of healthy. Bye.